Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here and you haven't watched my last video, I talked about getting a vlogging camera recently, and we're going to do a little bit of an unboxing. I want to talk about the features that the camera has, the things that I've gotten along the way to make recording that much easier, things that I like about the camera, and then the things that I don't necessarily like about the camera. After doing a bunch of different research and following a couple different vloggers and seeing what cameras they're using, I ended up getting the Sony ZV-1F. I did get the color white. It came in this box and I was like, oh no, is this going to be black in here? But we're going to open it up. I'm excited just to show you what this one looks like. Alright, she's unboxed, she's pretty, but I want to share one thing with you that you have to purchase before you end up using this camera, and it is definitely a must-have. Some other accessories that I'll be sharing with you, but this one you need to get or you won't be using your camera at all. And that one thing to purchase is actually going to be a memory card. I'll try and show it up close here, but when you turn your camera on, if you do not have a memory card in, it'll just flash with no card and you cannot use your camera at all. So we'll start off here, we'll put the memory card in, which I will say is super simple. You just flip this button right here, it opens up, you'll put the memory card in. I already have the battery here on the bottom as well. And it's simple just to slide in there. You'll press it down just to make sure that it stays, and then you'll close that one shut. Let's take off the lens cap. I love that this is flat face. I will say that this camera is very lightweight, and I feel like it's just like easy to use and maneuver. Some other nice features that it has, starting from the left and on the top, is actually the microphone part. So if you are out in a windy area, you just put that little fuzzy insert on top. I'm not really sure what that's called. I'm just being honest here. And then obviously you can see that your microphone is going to be right there. Your on-off button. This is where you can actually switch from a camera to a video. We have the zoom in, zoom out feature, and then the nice circle red button here for the record on and off. And if you see this last button here, this is where you can do more product features, which I haven't used that one yet because I haven't really done any UGC videos with that. So if you're really interested in me doing a follow-up video on that, just let me know. My favorite thing about this camera, and the reason that I ended up going with this one, is not only that it's lightweight, but then also that you can remove the screen here. You can flip it around, which makes it really easy for me to do content creating and still seeing where I'm at in the camera. If you only saw my phone setup that I have, this was definitely a must-have for me. And then you have your playback, your delete button, and some other feature buttons that you can play around with. We'll turn it over to the side here. It does have some connector areas, the USB, which is actually how I end up setting it up over to my computer. It did end up coming with a USB cord, but you still need a connector to get it onto your laptop. And at the bottom, I already showed where the SD and the battery go. However, this over here is actually where you can hook it up to your tripod. I'll talk about it a little bit later on if I like that, or different things that you can do to actually modify it to pull it into the center. Let's do a quick roundup of the accessories. Like I said, the only one that is a must-have before you can actually use your camera is going to be the SD card. I did end up getting 2 of those, but I'll touch on that in just a second. First up on accessories is going to be this tripod. I like this one because there's actually a ball up here, so you can adjust the different angles that you want your camera at. The way that I can explain this best, if I'm making my morning coffee and I want to get the angle directly down on my coffee, I can actually just face this down. I don't necessarily have to do any like crazy maneuvers, and you can just loosen it or tighten it with this handle right here. This one also opens up and it actually gets pretty tall, and I like how tall this one is. I'm 5'7" and I feel like this is the perfect height for me. Now let's switch it over to my camera. See how easy that was just to put on, and the camera is nice and balanced there. Just switched over to the camera. You can already see how good the quality is. You can see that this is much of a wider angle than what the phone does. I think the phone does great for what it is, and then obviously it's something that you have every day, so you don't necessarily need to make the upgrade. But because I'm trying to turn this into my full-time job, I definitely think the upgrade was worth it. I didn't say this earlier, but I did get this on Black Friday sales, although I do think Sony does sales every once in a while, and so altogether I spent less than $500. Let's get back into the accessories. I already mentioned the SD card, but the one thing I didn't mention about that one is that I got the 128GB Extreme Pro. I really don't know the difference of anything, but this is the one that was the most recommended. I did get 2 just in case I run out of space on the one that I'm currently recording on. I just have this one for backup. It's more of just a safety thing for me. And then that takes me to this connector. This part actually plugs into my laptop. The SD card goes in this portion, and then you can use the cord that came with the camera that will plug it back into the camera. It just makes the transfer a lot faster. I will say that one of the features that this camera does have is that you can set it up to Wi-Fi and then transfer everything that's on the camera to your phone directly. And there's a creator app option that you can actually transfer everything over to. You can do some different modifications on there, and you can actually hit the record button from your camera as well if that's something that you're interested in. I just haven't necessarily messed with that feature. It's really just easier and faster for me to just put it onto my computer and do all of my editing on there. Last accessory, and I think this is more of a need versus a want, but you can take this for what it's worth. I think that the battery on the Sony is not that great. It's my one and only complaint about this camera. So I ended up getting this Wasabi Power backup battery. It actually comes with 2 batteries. It comes with this charging port here. And I feel like it's just easy to switch in and out. If you saw when I put the tripod on, or even when you saw underneath the camera, the port to put it onto the tripod is off to the side. It actually makes it easier for you to put in and out the battery. For what the camera's worth, I feel like the battery should last a little bit longer. It just is what it is. One lesson that I'm going to share with you today is actually don't get the Wasabi Power one because your Sony battery does not charge on this one. So now I have to get something else that works on my Sony battery as well as the Wasabi one. I'm going to put something in my Amazon cart that I did a little bit of research on. There's a different one, a 2-pack battery one that actually charges your Sony battery as well. And that way you don't have like a bunch of different things that is just charging all the camera batteries that you need. The last thing I'm going to share is something that I ended up buying and you do not need it. This actually comes in the box with the camera. I don't know how I missed it on the first time when I did an unboxing, but I ended up getting one of the wind protectors, and I'll definitely be returning this on Amazon because again, you don't need it. It comes in the camera already. There's one thing that I asked for Christmas, and it's the handheld tripod. And I don't think that it's something that's necessarily a need, but I figured why not? Last portion of this video, we're going to go over what I like about the camera, what I don't like about the camera. To start with the things that I like about the camera, it's super light, it's easy to use. I love that there's like a stabilized motion portion of it if you're walking around or if you're doing different things. I love that it's easy to change the battery of it since it's off to the side. And the last feature, which is something that I've messed up when I've been using my phone in the past, there is a red light that goes on when you're recording, and if that red light is off, then you're not recording. And there have been so many different times that I've been recording content and I never hit the record button. So for me, that's a foolproof feature and I just love it. Now the things that I don't like about the camera. So the screen is off to the right here. Now you need to be looking directly straight to make sure that your eye contact is going directly into the camera. If I want to look at the screen, you can see I'm looking at the screen here. It just messes with your eye contact a little bit. I don't necessarily think it's an issue. There are other cameras that have the vlogging at the top, but they're double the price of this one. Like I said, I spent less than $500 on it. I can still tell that I'm centered. It's just something that I have to get used to over time. Kind of mentioned my biggest pain point about this camera, and it's the battery life. The battery life just does not necessarily last that long. Now, something that I mentioned earlier is that you can actually transfer all your photos and your videos over by Wi-Fi. Make sure that you turn off the Wi-Fi so that way it's not killing your battery while you're doing all of your filming. And then if you ever want to use the Wi-Fi feature and transfer it over to your phone, you can just turn it on when you want to use it. But going back to the battery, if I'm going to do an all-day vlog, I will have to change out the battery and have to pay attention to it. Now, on the screen that I'm looking at right now, it will tell me when the battery is getting low. But again, lesson learned, I don't always pay attention to that, and I've definitely been recording and the battery died on me. And the last thing that I don't necessarily love, but I don't necessarily hate it, and I'm kind of sitting in between on this one, is where the mount is placed where you have to put the tripod in. Yes, it makes it easy for the battery to be replaced. However, when you're kind of trying to balance your camera, it makes it a little bit offsetting. So I'm trying to figure out like that portion of it. Now I normally will like line it with something on a wall and make sure that the camera is straight, but it would be easier to make sure that everything is straight if that was in the center. And if you had it in the center, then the battery wouldn't be easy to change. So I don't really know where I sit with my feelings on that one. For me, this is definitely worth the investment. I think that the features on it are super nice. I think the clarity of the video is really nice. Ultimately, this purchase and this camera is something that I'm super happy with. Again, I'm an entry-level vlogger. It's something that I'm hoping to do long-term. Spending around $500, I feel like it has all the features that I need to be able to get started. I feel like it supports anything that I'm looking to do. And as always, if you have any questions at all, whether it's about vlogging, if it's anything about the accessories, the camera in general, please drop a comment. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.